Do not worry, do not worry. We did not leave you behind. We just finished a one heck of a series of a banger with EVE versus Boba Dragons. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Diggsy K, and with me today is such a familiar face. It is a wonderful time to put him on a cast today. A man with many talents, the man from Singapore, God himself. Welcome
Whoa.
back, Mr. Multitudes. How you doing today, sir?
That was a little too hyped, Dixie, but I'll take it. Thank you so much. And I'm so glad to be here to help carry on the hype and carry on basically, casting for this amazing event that we have here between two titans of a team right here.
Yes, we have two titans of a team. Indeed, we have first in the attacker slot will be our top of the group team here with Coven Esports. And on the defender side, we have a new team on the horizon, but with a few familiar faces in Oasis 7.
Yeah, and so we're now, as you know, this is day one of week two of the Exo Athena series. We've got ourselves the playoffs. So this is the upper bracket quarterfinals. So this is a chance for both these teams to basically play their hearts out and get themselves in an advantage here in the double elimination bracket. The loser of this best of three will end up in the lower bracket series, and we'll have to fight to survive down in the depths of hell while the other thrives up in the heavens. And so I expect them to really start playing their hearts out, really get all the cards into play, and really grab that advantage for themselves.
Yeah, and you're right. It's no longer the group stage, and there's no more time for experimentation. If you
Mm-hmm.
had your strats up and ready for a particular map, now is the time to do so. Because if your team loses twice, it is a bye bye. And I believe we are currently stacked in terms of prizes at the moment as well. On top of cash prize, we also have paraphernalias to give up. And here in the Exto Game Athena series, it is currently sponsored by one of the best paraphernalias companies in the gaming space. Shout out to Logitech G. And oh boy, if you are a player, even as a caster at the moment, I envy those people who have access to a super light at the moment.
Oh, 100%. And it's so, fortunate for us to be noticed and sponsored by Logitech ANZ here. I think, there's a lot of information online that you can find out about how to get into the giveaways, etc. And, I'm sure the admins in the chat are going to pop that down to you as well. But huge shout out for our sponsor, Logitech ANZ.
Indeed. Now we're going to get into probably like the meat and bones of every single person in the team so far. I'll actually start off with Oasis 7 since they are the brand new team that are coming up at the moment. For those who are not familiar with Oasis 7, it's mainly the new team that's coming in to this series, but with familiar faces, mainly because it is a combination of players from both Poofy Pandas and SLG. Coming in from Poofy
Mm.
Pandas to build up this roster would be G, Skepno Blade, and Mommy Panda. And coming in from the side of SLG would be Cookie Hoarder. And to round up every single to round up the squad, and it'll be a new player coming in from the series itself, making their debut. It is going to be PV. Going in towards this series, we've already seen, if you're familiar with how Poofy Pandas played before, Skepnoblade was the standout for that round against the Brat Division, now called Boba Dragons. And again, a lot of good things to say about a G because of pretty much how I would describe them is they are the pretty much I wouldn't say pinnacle, but like a very well-rounded player in terms of talent pool. I did mention this before, probably like weeks ago. The talent pool of this player is really huge, and the way they approach the game and learning the game is pretty much someone that even a mid elo like myself would actually strive for. Um, Going into Mommy Pandas as well, a very good support player. And just to round it off as well, to with Cookie Hoarder and PV, that would be like my question mark. in itself. It is your debut game after all, and there's not much to pretty much just like noted in terms of that one, especially if you're just starting off. But my question is like, will they be able to start off with a bang in their debut, or will it be pretty much like, I mean, let's just say a lackluster one?
That's very true, and I hope they will be able to step up to the plate. Because on the other side, the flip side, we've got the Titans themselves. Top of the group stages is Coven, and these are familiar names once again. Like Dixie said, that you would be familiar with seeing. We've got Carino, Sonali, Barbie, Fungi, and on screen will be some Arabic words, but we're gonna call them lilies at the moment. And we've seen them play off in the playoff. We've seen them play out in the group stages, and they've shown why they're such a strong powerhouse of a five-person stack here,
Yeah.
ending up being top of the team. So this is their time to shine, and really Oasis 7 has to really step up for all players to come together and really maybe cause some wreck onto Coven, maybe shake their confidence, and maybe even push them down into the lower bracket. So we'll have to see. And Diggsy, do you also want to walk us through the map picks and bands?
Map picks and bans currently is going to be an interesting one. After all, after every, well, obviously, Coven, because they are the higher seed going into it, they had the advantage in going to pick whether they would be banning first or banning second. I believe they decided to uh, ban first. So in the end, after all of that, we're going to be ending up with Pearl, Lotus, and Haven. Again, I know everyone and their mama knows how Lotus works at this point, but my interesting pick for this one would actually be um will actually be Pearl, because
Mm.
it's going to be tricky, because I feel like we've seen how it's played, but we haven't seen enough of it, if you know what I mean.
Oh, 100%. I feel like Pearl is one of those things where it gets banned quite quickly. I actually like Pearl a lot. It reminds me of basically Split, except it's not so elevated. So, Split has a lot of high ground that the defenders can take off, and that encourages the attackers to walk down middle, which is why the where Split came from. But Pearl's a little different, right? Pearl's a little wider. It's well, no, Pearl's similarly in the sense that it is equally wide. It is equally like flat. The distance between the attacker side and the defender side are relatively close, but there's no elevation, which calls for a much stronger look presence down mid to be able to catch the defenders off guard from that perspective. And I love to see those Pearl looks. I'm a lurker myself, Dixie, and I love to see a good lurk with a great timing and great game sense.
Indeed. We actually know that Pearl is a semi-huge map, which means it's going to be a whole lot of utility to be spent just to actually look for info and just get a good grasp of where everybody is. Um, Again, but Lotus, well, Pearl is in a much more interesting state, because you have a lot of how should I say this, like semi walkways for these
Mm-hmm.
sentinels to actually walk around and get a good pinch and catch everyone off guard. That's what I am currently looking at. That's what I'm hyped about. That's what I'm currently looking for. It's going to be, if you're going to make it in a macro sense for any of these teams, we're looking at how do they position themselves in the mat? How do they
Oh,
get their
100%.
picks? How will they be able to rotate? Will it be simultaneously? Will it be just swing off the bat and then pull back? The possibilities in this map are endless in terms of macro and positioning. And my only question is with like, what will it be in terms of, I guess like team compositions in regards to this map of Pearl.
Exactly, and I believe speaking about team compositions, we're just about having all the players and coaches online at the moment. We're gonna push straight into agent select, but without looking right now, Diggsy, I'm gonna guess that
Right.
one
Eyes are
of them
closed.
is gonna do a double controller, and the other one's gonna run a Yoru Teho. Let's see.
So for
Okay,
me on my
wait,
end, I'm
wait, I called it. Look, right? Wait, no way.
you are correct indeed, but you're not like, it's not from just like a pure log and a pure guess as well. Yoru is one of the most pivotal duelists out there currently, and I am not surprised that Coven managed to pick it up. And what's more interesting for me is Mommy Panda going the neon route. It's not a bad idea at all. They have a lot of, as an agent, you have a lot of space to work with in some of these spots, but with only one dash to work out, it's a bit of a question mark for me on how will the well, not the entry is not the question. It'll be the exit that is the question. If you're going to just going in for like one entry with just one dash, are you going to be backed up with your squad, or are you going to be cannon fodder per se?
No, that's exactly the point, right? And that's why that's why timing is so important for all these entries, and to make sure.
Exactly.
I'm always scared when the neon just W keys the whole way and is not well supported by the rest. Either they're late to throwing utility, or they just don't come in bodies wise onto the site, leaving all these basically 1v1s easy for the taking. And so I'm looking at Oasis 7 right now, the double controller Sentinel with a unified avatar, might I just add, very very lovely. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about how they need to be able to play, and given that this is actually a very shallow map, they can actually take a lot of extremity control, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you've
Exactly.
got a Astra on that global smokes, allowing for massive coverage and a great paranoia, and so this really allows a lot of them to be able to play a bit aggressively around the extremities and then let people hold the mid for better control.
Yeah, we'll have to see on how this control, especially in mid in particular, like you just mentioned it, and now Oasis 7 actually going hot ham on it, already seeing three agents parked up and towards the barrier side of mid, and you already know just it's gonna
Hmm.
be interesting on how everyone just like blows out. Everyone is
Yeah.
just parked up in mid. Like you have two in art and and three in mid B. It's gonna be interesting here on how they're gonna be blowing up. And here we are. It is the first round of Coven versus Oasis 7. Will Oasis 7 represent the all-star squad of Poofy Pandas and SLG, or will Coven take them down a notch? Barbie with the first kill.
Oh, that's going to be huge information actually from the side of Barbie, right? To be able to live and tell the tale. This allows Coven to speed up the whole way. And this, let's see how Oasis
All the
deals with the back
spice.
lurker. Okay, a quick shot, right?
Yeah. Cookie Hoarder taking down the Lurk already. We are now a 4v4, but Spike is now already down, and I believe it's not even 30 seconds within the round. Now, Mommy Panda, and the rest of the squad gonna have to play a bit of a retake here. Astra for the stall. And we now know that Lilies is going down. Cookie Hoarder going in for that kill. Cookie Hoarder takes three, and Skip No Blade takes the fourth one and the fifth one for a change. Coven is down.
Honestly, the number of smokes that I saw on that A site was ridiculous. Like SLG playing double controllers did a great thing. They basically teamed up, got the flank out of the way in a great 1v1 trade, and then put not two, not three, four. They put four smokes on A. They were able to basically isolate, I believe, Lily. Yep, Lily just off that A right corner with a great paranoia, and just swing out and collect those kills. So this is gonna be time and time again very, very crucial for Coven to see how they want to adapt themselves to play against this. As we move into a slight tech pause, we apologize for the delays and all that stuff, but we're just here to try and give you a Class A Valorant cinema. But yeah, exactly what Coven needs to do to maybe draw out some of the utility from Oasis 7.
Again, like you said it before, a lot of smokes going in towards that A side. As the saying goes, go hard or go home, right? And it's such a pivotal map as Pearl, where you have to block off extremities. This is why also what the Phantom is also one of the best guns to have at the moment, especially with a double controller comp as well. You don't have the pings anymore, but you still have a good shot of trying to smoke spam whenever you can, and I believe that will be the case here for tonight in this particular game as well. As we're going into a tech pause at the moment, you already see like a smidge of action and how everything is going to be going. At least like a sneak peek or a preview or like an appetizer or like a taste of what the composition is going for. Um, what else are the combinations that you can pull through in terms of for the side of Yoru and for the side of Neon.
Well, I I like the Yoru pick because it pairs so well with the Teho, right? Like the Teho salvos, 40-second, 40-second, what's the word for it? Timer, basically on that. So, number one, Riot Games, please take note. 40 seconds is way too fast. So the salvos coming out every 40 seconds really allows for remote clearing of corners that Yoru can teleport or gate crash themselves into, right? And I think that's very dangerous. It now the double sentinel composition on Oasis 7 does counter that a little because of the number of smokes they can put up to deny entries and sightlines, and hopefully be able to isolate some of the fights that come out from the Euro gate crash. But if it's a coordinated attack from Coven, that's going to be really hard to push back, right? So we'll see what happens on the defensive side, I suppose. They do have that Sentinel Barbie who's on the Vice. I like the pick of Barbie, really, because it gives them a bit more adaptability on both the attack and the defense side. Attack side, Barbie can choose to use that Vice Flash up front and really try and storm the site with the rest of the team to be part of the cohort instead of doing a lurk. So it kind of depends, and we'll see what these teams want to employ. I wouldn't be surprised if they mix it up, though.
Yeah, in terms of Oasis 7's team comp, if in case that everyone didn't notice, they don't have a sentinel. Like they are very susceptible in this defense here. And meanwhile, Coven has a really well balanced comp and a pretty much a well versed, not really as flashy as Neon as you want it to be as an entry, but he's a very Joker like menacing agent, if I would be able to describe him, because unless you keep track on where he'll be able to teleport, Yoru will be just you'll have to be hyper aware on where Yoru like teleports, and even then it's probably a fake gate crash too.
It's true. It's true. The thing that I will point out is that there's not a lot of information scanning abilities, right? There's no Sova with your drone, there's no Cypher with your camera. So I think that's going to be a crucial point that a lot of these players will try to figure out is that, okay, how do I get information in this? Do I send the Yoru and then gate crash out of there? Right? Just to get information. But I believe what we'll see a lot is actually body checking, right? They'll basically push out, they'll jump peek, it exposes their body, but this honestly is what I can tell. The only wait, I'm sorry. Teho does have their little spider drone. So that is the single one that comes up probably early in the round just to get some information. But this is a small map. You can play around with this map corners a whole dang lot.
Of course, and let's not forget we also have Fade's I Haunt as well. That can actually be a crucial one if you use it smartly. It's not something that you can just use off the rip as soon as barrier goes down. That's because that's a signature ability that's actually very way pivotal. As you would want to like go in towards the earlier rounds at least. Again, like, we've seen before that how they were able to work it out for the side of Oasis that even though you're on the defensive side, you're actually starting to play it very aggressively, if I may add. Like um, a lot of space taken. They were able to hunt Barbie down of the lurk off the jump. And even at the post plant, like because of that man advantage that O7 just had, they were already like concise on like when to go in. It's like a magical 3, 2, 1, dump every util in towards the site and see who survives.
Yeah, no, it's very true. It's very true. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they mix it up though. It's very easily telegraphed, but if they do it a few times, they may be able to at the very least they would be able to add some consistent pressure and conditioning at least to the side of Coven, and maybe expend some of the utility just to be able to clear mid, just to make sure that Oasis 7 aren't barreling down once again with a 4-person stack, just to bite them from behind as we saw in that first pistol round. So I do want to see some conditioning coming out. The very classic one is putting down a few smokes on B side to be able to maybe push, and that can be done on both the attackers and defenders side. So you often see a lot of conditioning around the extremities as well, just to be able to hold some default approaches, expend some utility, and hopefully make it a little easier for the opposition to be defeated from that perspective.
Yeah, and it looks like one of the players of Coven is now back, and oh, disconnected once more time. But again, when we're gonna be going in towards the map of Pearl here, there's just like endless possibilities, and especially for like the team comp that um like both teams have now. It's currently just different in terms of like the choice of smokes and the choice of duelists. So it's not a mirror matchup totally, but um, and it also depends on um, how each team plays. Like, will they stall? Will
Yep.
they? Won't they? What type of conditioning is the play each player going for here? And this is something that I'm waiting to find out, especially as an analyst or a stats maker as well. Um,
Yep. Yep.
Checking the
100%.
scoreboard real quick. Pookie Hoarder already at 3 kills, 1 death, and 1 assist as well. Skepnoblade not too far behind with 202. Um, but like for the side of Coven as well, like one apiece for Sonali, Barbie, and Fungi as well.
Yeah, and Daisy, I'm gonna go off track a little bit and go
Yeah,
on
let's do it.
a little bit of a soapbox rant about my dear friend Tejo. I was expect I okay, so you and everyone watching the stream right now probably knows about the first patch that came out for Tejo, and the
Mm-hmm.
basically the only thing that they did was nullify or nerf the Tejo Ultimate Armageddon in
Mm-hmm.
the slightest bit so that it doesn't destroy the Killjoy Lockdown Ultimate, which I think was the weakest debuff or nerf I've ever seen on such an overpowered character. I mean, the spider drone itself can basically run a marathon. Dixie, have you seen that thing? It's powers off like crazy.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Valid, and I see where you're coming from. But let me play a little bit of devil's advocate there, and
Okay, all
let me
right,
challenge the thinking real quick because
all
A,
right.
we have time. B, I'm bored. C, um, we can actually still more talk about it. I feel like what Riot would want to do actually in terms of being able to at least give a leeway in terms of Teo, because it's pretty much one of the agents that is just like fresh out the box, right?
Okay.
You would want to at least have some semblance of like maybe previous agents having a good shot to actually like combat that a little bit. If it means that if it's just like a lot of killjoy utility, that you would want their abilities to actually be immune to, then that's probably Riot giving you like a little bit of a nudge or like giving it a little bit of a love in to probably like one of the most appealing and nerdiest agents that Valorant has already. In contrary to that, though, I do see where you're coming from. Where Teo, uh, man, is it like a huge radius that needs to be nerfed out, or any
Mm-hmm.
more? Does the Armageddon need to be kind of like skinnier? But then will it even be called
Yeah.
Armageddon, or will it be called
Yeah.
like Skinnygeddon? You know what I mean?
Am I getting it? I like it. I like it. Yeah. I mean, lots of ideas, right? And thankfully we were able to tie it through. That was the Dig Z and Multitudes podcast right there.
Yes,
As we
sir.
move, the timer is now live and we're back into action. Once again, I do repeat, always 7 on the defense, having won that first round. It's gonna be sussed out in a 2-2-1 fashion, and that's gonna be the salvos once again forcing some pressure out from there, and those are the salvos back in return. They really want to take this
Mm-hmm.
art space. And I'm gonna start off with a bit of this drone, maybe with a combo wombo from that
Oh,
that haunt, but not just yet. Bit of chip damage. We go re-exploring.
oh, and already damage is going through. PV now going down to the hands of Barbie there. There goes the information carrier of '07. Now everyone's starting to just back off real quick, as especially if you're a defender side here, it's gonna be very tricky if you're gonna be losing numbers, especially on a post fight that is coming up, which is most likely going to be B side. This is where every single player of Coven Esports are coming through. There goes the Savos. Oh, and again, a lot of space coming through. With the gate crash will be like a good um a good one or a fake one. Here we go. Cookie Hoarder finds Fungi and it gets them to below half HP. It is still a 4v5, but O7 down a man here. Despite winning pistol round. And here we go. Cookie Hoarder takes down Sonali. G for the Barbie. As well, Skepnoblade takes down Carino. It is now a 4v2. One a lead up for O7. And just like that, Spike is defused. And G takes a 3k to solidify the round if it's not solidified enough for O7 2-0.
That 3K, out of the 3K, one of them was a nice little salvo, kind of a discharge right there onto one of the Coven players. It started off with a great start. I like what Coven thought about. You know, you're on the save round, you're hard saving, you're not buying anything whatsoever. We're just gonna trade bodies, and Barbie actually got up that Spectre, but it all came crumbling down once G came out with those salvos. You see the just the patience from Wusa 7 to be able to just wait that out, right? And now, you know, moving on to this third round is the bonus for the side of Coven. They're going to be able to buy up and maybe get some orbs in the mix here. It's going to be one more going the way. But they're looking like it's going to be a strong start. Helped back by some salvos. We'll see if Barbie gets anything in mid, though.
Oh, just the timing real quick. G getting taken down to 85 HP. It was almost a Barbie versus G one-on-one battle there in Art. But G decided to go back out. And it looks like it is the smart decision because we are already going past the 1 minute mark and Coven Esports decided to back out. No blood spilled currently. Barbie using every util that they have to get more information, and it looks like it's another repush for Coven Esports here. Will they be able?
See, Oasis 7 didn't have any information, right? And they're just holding up an A, and it's working in their favor, fortunately.
Oh, there we go. You saw a pixel there. It's now 35 seconds remaining. This has to be a commitment for Coven Esports. Oh, salvos bringing back people. It is now 28 seconds. And it's gonna be a tricky one here to have a spike planted in such a late round. It is now a 3v3. Sonali and Karina takes down Skatoblade, and there goes G. Lilies gets a kill for themselves. It is now down to the Fade and Astra. They be able to make it, and there goes Cookie Hoarder down. Carino taking out another one. And is now down to Lilies, and then PV almost got it, but no cigar on that one. So close. Is 2-1 and still in favor of O7.
I want to say that Oasis 7 got a little lucky there, right? That this is starting to be very apparent that without some visual information, without your Sentinel, like Cookie Hoarder was really worried about that mid space, right? And maybe being even flanked from a B lurk, which honestly Coven could have easily walked into. But you know, it just goes to show that they still walked into a stack side. They came out with 2 rifles to boot and the point under their belt, which is smart and great gameplay from their perspectives. Now, moving into the next round here, we got a few ultimates coming online, you know, and we'll see if they want to be able to get any sort of mid-space kills to be able to rack that up. Start off with Sonali's 1 away from that Nightfall.
Again, like 1 away from Nightfall now. Oh, there goes the power. They know where PV is, and down goes PV. That's the Fade gone, and salvos are now going through. And then goes Coven Esports going back out, going towards Art one more time. They want to recontest this. It looks like they now really want to push through this. A lot of time. Now going through. Like now going down. Carino is now going to have their second kill. Sonali takes down Mommy Panda as well. It is now a 2v5. 53 seconds remaining, and Fungi goes in for the plant. Now Barbie gonna get a scope out on where everyone is. It is now down to G, and it is now down to Cookie Hoarder, and G goes down, and so does Cookie Hoarder. Barbie taking that 2 down and taking it tie 2-piece 2-2.
Bang. Clean up on aisle 4. Barbie's calling. Oh, beautiful play with the lurk. You know, once again, you gotta be wary about that. Barbie's actually, the game sense so far has been fairly good to be able to suss things out at the right time. Just mentally counting about the rotations that come through. Oasis 7, I also gotta say, Skepnoblade with the egregious, very egregious shadow step right there, trying to get the teleport behind the bulk of them, but not to be here. Dimensional Drift now popped,
Oh,
trying to get all this information as Coven gonna try and get their first try onto that B side. They're gonna spot a single player
oh.
here, but nothing much more.
If Astra noticed it real quick, you would notice that Yoru bump right away. But I don't think they're in that level yet to notice. But here we go. Vice Ultimate now gonna have to be used here. Steel Garden has made its mark. And that is one for Coven Esports. And now the rest of O7, everyone is in mid B lurk towards that little narrow sight there. But oh, here we go. Nightfall has been released. And a little bit more. And there goes Mommy Panda going outside. Will they be able to take down one? Fungi takes down Mommy Panda instead. Cookie Hoarder takes down Barbie as well. Karina again getting for the trade. And it is now a 3v2. Oasis have a man advantage here. It is now down to Lilies. And it is now down to Sonali as well. Salvo is being used to keep everyone away. And just like that, defenders have it on O7. G and Skinnerblade goes down, but who cares? The spike is defused, and O7 with the round.
That was disastrous for Coven. They walked into this fully stacked against a thrifty round for Oasis. They expended not one, not two, 4 ultimates during that round. And it came down to the absolute wire for a sneak defuse right under the nose. Oh my gosh, that was so heartbreaking. Honestly, yeah, I don't even know what to say, right? Barbie, I've been singing praises. Popped that, ultimate during a buy round, a save round. Sorry, for the side of Oasis 7 was a lot. I felt like it was really throwing money into the win. Maybe they felt like they had the advantage, but the advantage is now lost.
PV with the good sense there, trying to get a good amount of where Coven is. Hoarder is now down, but G goes in for the trade. It is now a 4v4 for both sides of O7 and Coven Esports. There we go. Prowler gets a detect on someone, but Fudgy goes down. PV still in the same spot, not going to be contested towards this site of A. It is now 53 seconds remaining on the clock. Spike is not planted. Carino has seen a bit of pixel on where PV is, but they don't know where the rest of that has Skepnoblade actually. But PV and Skepnoblade still going through. Skepnoblade for the swing. It is now a 3v2. Man advantage goes to O7, but no more. It is now tied apiece. G down to a slither of health. Will they be able to go in? It is now 23 seconds remaining. No spikes down yet. G goes down. Down to Mommy Panda. And it's now Mommy Panda versus Sonali. Is it 1v1? Will the Astra prevail, or will the Filipina of Speedster go through? It is not. Lilies gets the 1v1 and a 3k for them to beat, tying it all up again.
What a scruffy battle. It was a real back and forth there with like the trades of utility. It was actually really well traded out by both sides, right? Once Barbie was traded out by G in that mid lurk, honestly, Barbie having to hard clear the corner, absolutely phenomenal work from Barbie. But once that Barbie was out of the question, it was just a scruffle off that his side, and just who can click his a little quicker than the other. So once again, O7 back on that thrifty. We've seen how they've done before. We've seen how they fared during that buy round and doing the exact same thing.
That indeed. We are still in a pretty much a pound for pound battle between just who can click the fastest. You know what I mean? It's like once all the abilities are now down and all sussed, and like every utility has already been spent, it is now just down to a gunfight, which is pretty much what you want to see in a tactical shooter anyway. But still, again, a lot of possibilities to go here, and one of the possibilities is PV taking Barbie down. There goes the Sentinel of Coven Esports. Taunt now has to go down. They know that mid site is already clear, which means Coven Esports will have to be executing somewhere, and that site will be B site. It is now a go for them. starting to clear everything out before the plant by Lilies. But Carino going in, sneaky with it, trying to listen in on where O7 could be. And there is the cosmic divide, trying to silence more of where Coven Esports could be popping off to. It is a 5v4 currently. No sentinels for this side of Coven Esports. And here we go. They're in the side. Mommy Panda goes and it pulls through, but G gets taken down by Carino. A good off-angle shot there. Now a 4v4. Mommy Panda a bit blinded there by Carino, but Carino still takes down Cookie Hoarder. Takes one, takes two, and it takes four. Sonali with the final kill for PV. And just like that, Coven Esports already on the lead for this pro game.
Once again, okay, so good job covering esports, right? You held your wit, you basically split the whole map in half. Oasis 7 did a bit of a gamble as they stacked that A side and were able to pick up, I believe, at least a Vandal out of the hands of Barbie. But wasn't meant to be. They came back strong, even wasted. They utilized their Nightfall as well. But the plan of Cairo, this is where the Yoru comes in clutch, right? You're just not really able to know. Once again, I like this. I like this battle is about to happen.
Here we go. It's spicy. Is it spicy? No, it's not spicy enough. PV goes down and Mommy Panda goes down as well. Skepno Blade takes two. It is now down to a 3v3. Skepno Blade getting taken down to 29 HP, surviving merely a pixel there. But that was a spicy one, and just like that, barriers down, and it's now a 3v3 all of a sudden. Now Coven Esports is going to be in a trickier spot here. Will they commit to B, or will they have to rotate somewhere else? They do have the time. It is currently 1 minute on the clock here. Sonali trying to scope everything out so far, but Multi, it is going to be an interesting one. We've never seen like a 3v3 this early before.
Yeah, so far Coven has kind of gambled a little bit with a lot of their stacks as the attacker. They put a lot of cards into one side of the map, right? And sure, they leave Barbie to explore a little bit, but mostly just cut off rotations and backstab. Not much in terms of like trying to draw rotations or anything of the sort. So I think Oasis 7 are kind of reading this quite well, to be honest. They're just waiting it out, waiting for the noise to come, and the noise is coming right now.
All right, make some noise because Coven Esports is knocking on your side. Lily's now down for the plant, but G starts to put the salvos down. It is going to be a menace with 13 seconds on the clock. It's going to be tricky. Will they be able to still pull it out? Barbie takes down Cookie Hoarder. 8 seconds remaining on the clock, and Spike is now down. It is now 2v3. It is now down to Skepno Blade and G. Skepno Blade still hurt from that final battle in the initial skirmish, and here we go, another skirmish going down. Lily's takes down Skepno Blade, and Sonali takes down G as well. And Coven Esports with a 2-round lead for Pearl.
I gotta say, Coven Esports right now, they're 5-3. One of them, honestly, was a bit of a fumble from their perspective, so it could have been 6-2, and I can really see why, right? A lot of these, there's a lot of gift with a lot of these players at the moment. They're just feeling it. Carino getting some crazy shots right off the bat, like just punishing some dry peaks coming up from Oasis 7. We were worried about that, right? They don't have a lot of ways to gather information in Oasis 7, so they're coming out with bodies just to be able to get information. They're planting one MPV down extremities. We saw that in the past 2 rounds where MPV led the charge down both A main as well as B long. And it is a hard pill to swallow, especially because Coven are just absolutely kicking heads. And I think Oasis 7 need to be able to go back to the drawing board just a little bit to get some information a little differently, or else this may start running away from them.
We are currently experiencing a tech at the moment, but we'll just dive it back real quick. I am now back to sitting on my chair. I'm no longer standing up. Well,
I saw you. I saw you.
But we're now here in an impasse. So we have to step back real quick. It's because I feel like Coven Esports are starting to swing in a proper direction now. Like they started swinging outside towards that smoke, looking for angles that they could be. Which is what you have to do when you're going outside of a smoke. Either way, you either go for trades or like just die in smoke, period. What I am currently seeing at the moment is O7 is starting to get punished for the fact that they don't have a sentinel. Like that's already like
Mm-hmm.
information gatherer
Mm-hmm.
gone already. That's
Yep.
being punished in towards the end, and like and all for just to opt to for a double smoke. Yes, it is. Yes, it is good, but when you are very well versed in towards against these comps nowadays, you get um especially even if it's like with players that are unfamiliar with how to go up against double controller comps, like the mentality there will just be just disrespect the smoke, you know.
It's true, right?
And
It's true. They've got a lot of utility that can basically burst their way through. And Carino's not really doing that deep kind of gate crash abuse. So they're really coming in together. And Carino's like trying to lead the charge with the flash, which is great. But I will say, I agree with your point that Oasis 7, suffering a little bit from not having a Sentinel. I will also add on to that, that's not, that we haven't even seen the worst of it all, right?
mm,
Covenant haven't actually exploited that to the best of their ability, right? They really haven't sent Barbie or Karina down some deep lurk down B long or down A main. A lot of it has just been cover the flanks. A lot of it has just been to hold mid. But
mm.
it's I honestly expect some of that to happen in the next 4 rounds.
Well, again, like you did mention about Barbie before getting getting the lurks that they need, but usually, like if you've seen like the rounds that have played out so far, every lurk there's just more than one person there. Like literally, if it's not the whole team. Like, what would you do with that? That's an automatic 1v5 already for in like against for the side of a Barbie. If you are Coven Esports and you know that they're stacked together, that means there's so many space for you to take. But we're starting to, I mean, I don't know if they're currently capitalizing on that or they're not. Are they respecting O7 way too much, or are they trying to like figure out O7 still?
It's true. Now, we are fortunate to be out of the tech pause at the moment. Oh 07 once again on the save run, and they're doing the signature kind of bum rush down mid to be met by a couple of players in a great crossfire. See how many they can rack up here.
Oh, Barbie again going in for another trade, takes down Cookie Hoarder, but again, Covenant Esports now down a Sentinel. Still have a smoke available for the side of O7, but it's going to be tricky now. Carino's going to have to be using the Dimensional Drift, giving them a spatial advantage here if you're Coven Esports. But Carino, you are very far extended to the wrong side, my friend, because the rest of O7 are far from where you are currently. But it looks like you're going to go back towards your teammates because you they did have a good chance of catching someone who's going to be rotating in spawn. But if you're O7, they do usually not do those kinds of things. But Lily takes down G anyway, and Skepnoblade going in for the trade. It's now a 3v3. Spike is now down. And Fungi gonna have
Time.
to go for the salvos one way or another for someone to prep. If there was someone gonna be going on for the defuse, Sonali gets down. But just like that, no time remaining. It is now Coven Esports taking the lead, this time in a much more commanding way, 3-6 in favor of Coven.
Okay, and that's causing a little shakiness on the side of O7. Timeout called by Coach Jazor, and coach and manager Jazor, I believe, just to be able to regroup and think about okay, what can they do differently. They've had their save round. They've got majority of the rifles out of the hands of Coven, which is nice. We're not seeing Coven really stack up a huge amounts of money. So there may be an opportunity for out of the last 3 rounds of this first half, maybe one of them for a financial break onto Coven. But this is their chance to really start instilling some pain and danger into the side of Coven. At a 3-6 scoreline, if they can round it up to obviously a 6-6 is brilliant
Mm-hmm.
to tie it into the second half, but a 3-9 is a bit harder to swallow given how strong Coven can be on their defensive half.
I totally agree on that side as well. But what I could recommend if you are on the side of O7, switch it up. Come on
Mm-hmm.
now. You've been way overextended all towards the one particular side. And yes, it works towards probably like 4 or 5 rounds in, but it's starting to get tricky and it's starting to get very predictable now at this point. I suggest find one person and then go launch it. So if you see a pixel, coming in from any particular side, you can fall back at that player, wait for your team to go through, even like wait for the spike to go down, and then just push in as you would as a five. And now
They're
we
doing the
are
same thing
in
though.
the way for our round here. It's gonna be tricky, but not impossible if you're 07.
Yeah, 3-person pushed up onto A main. Deep smoke just to be able to cover it and let Barbie just hold that corner. And it is being hard respected, mind you. A very strong
Mm.
default approach as we see. Pressure has been
Whoa.
made. Probably know it is Barbie with that flash coming out. So thinking about where the rest of these team members might be.
Again, like it's starting to look like they're getting so much space here. Mid is now starting to get conquered. Oh, but it leaves B side bare. And everyone's gonna be clumped up towards A side. But the slow approach of Coven Esports going into the site very slowly, very calculated here. Will they be able to come through? It's going to be a steel garden, but Sports down a duelist at this point in time. Post plant is still going to be tricky if you're still on the side of 07. G is way too deep, and Sonali gives in for the punish. And it's now Cookie Hoarder and the rest of the squad pushing through smokes, going in left, right, and center, trying to find who is going to show up. And Fungi takes down Cookie Hoarder. PV takes down Barbie as well. Skip No Blade takes down Sonali. It is now a 3v2. Mommy Panda going for the defuse and takes down Lily in the end if you're Skip No Blade, but it is not enough,
Wow.
sadly. Good plans for 07, but not fast enough to defuse the spike. 3-7
Real
in favor of
painful.
Coven.
Real painful, right? They got to the spike late. Fungi basically hold up in a corner somewhere with salvos at the ready and waiting for that tap. So this calls for. I think not only is Teho meta changing, it should be behavior changing, right? Your first priority would be to redraw out those salvos, be it a spike plant, be it a spike tap diffuse, and just get that out as fast as possible. This means that buying time is you're very pressured to buy time, and retakes have to come out a lot quicker than what we're seeing right now, unfortunately.
Ooh, Barbie getting almost punished here, but there they are. PV going in for the kill. Barbie is now down. Once again, a familiar sight, but we've
Mm-hmm.
seen this familiar sight before in 07, losing the round either way. Karina now way deep and clearing the site out on A. And again, pushing back 07 to regroup and starting to get a game plan. A 1-2-3 is about to happen. I can feel it multitudes, but not if Carino stops it.
Wow.
Sonali takes down PV and G as well. And just like that, it is now a 4v3 man advantage for the side of Coven Esports. Skip No Blade gets taken down. Mommy Panda takes down Carino and Sonali takes down Cookie Hoarder. It is now down to Mommy Panda. Will she be the mommy, but mommy for no longer? Sonali with the 4K to get Coven Esports to their 8th win and 8th round.
Yeah, 4-8 may be more comfortable, naturally more comfortable than a 9-3 hero. Always 7 do have at least one, maybe two ultimates coming online with one away from the arm to the electrical fingers.
Mm-hmm.
May want to pop them because it's going to be a huge stack coming forth. Maybe signaled get spotted, but this is where you can really abuse, right? Like basically, look at where the three green dots are, completely on the right side, no sentinel to cover. We've talked about this at the break. Um, I don't know how the spike. Wait, the spike's going back to A. Okay, it's all a
Yeah,
bit
they
of a
put they
ploy,
put
and
Cosmic
Barbie's calling
Divide.
for it. You can hear it. Barbie's inserted far enough to hear all the rotations in, and yep, it's gonna be a
Oh,
free
you
and
see
easy
the
site.
drone too. Cosmic Divide is looking like a huge solar flare, attracting the fireflies of '07 here. But G now gets taken down by Barbie. A successful lurk from Barbie for a change, and is now way deep in towards their spawn. And site is taken, and bomb has been planted for the side of Coven Esports. I'm sorry, it's called the Spike.
Cover going out.
Well, will it be going towards '07's favor? Skip and Blade now going in, going through, but Barbie has a good spot here. They know where
Get over,
Prowler
get it.
is, and Cookie Hoarder, and oh, almost gets taken down
Shadows.
by Barbie. But Skip and Blade gonna have to skip all the way out here if they want to survive and keep their guns all the
Last
way
round.
towards the next round. But it is last round indeed. But I guess we just like don't give him stats, I guess.
Stat boosting, yeah. Keeping that KD a little healthy, Skip No Blade runs out of there, but it didn't really matter because Fungi, honestly, I, I'm gonna call it as it is, bottom of the scoreboard right now, but playing the objective, right? Hard playing the objective. They know exactly what their role is, and the Salvos have only killed one person in the first half, but have displaced so many people to the point where it's an easy kill for the in the first half. The defenders of running out and just picking up those kills nice and easy, right? So I got a huge shout out to Fungi for basically playing objective, playing the role that they are as the initiator. Instead of some of my ranked games, Dixie,
Oh,
where the
no.
initiator goes on a lurk. Oh my god. You heard
PTSD.
it here.
PTSD.
PTSD.
No more, please.
PTSD.
Please, none of that. Make me want to go play Swift Plays again after this, but still. Um, we are going into another tech pause once again, but it is now a role switch for both teams now. Now, '07, now on the attacker side. We've seen this before where Neon is on the attacker side, and we're already picturing it in our heads like they're going to be entering in towards side again. But the major question mark that I had before, that I said when it was on agent select, will it be backed up by your teammates? Because it's one thing to get into an entry, but it's one difficult thing even more to get out with an agent like Neon, especially with only one slide available. It's going to be tricky, but it's not impossible if you're '07.
All right. So here's what I think. Here's what I think '07 need to be able to play around. Right? They're double controllers. Number one, if you're looking at Cam right now, chat, they're having a great time. They're
Yes,
they're
sir.
vibe merchants of their own. They're basically like worshiping the goddess of smokes as we speak, which is beautiful. I love it. That's
It's
point
like
number
four
one.
Zelsises.
It is like exactly. Point number two is that they have double controllers, right? Which means they have potentially up to 7 smokes that they can deploy simultaneously onto a map. Now, I'm not saying you burn all 7 off the rip, but this is a place for you to really like draw out some of the stuff that you need to draw in terms of utility. Fungi has been ridiculously important for the Coven side. Draw their utility, right? Barbie gonna be setting up somewhere. You're gonna find the share. You have to find the share and get rid of it. Without that, that share is not gonna be. You can't even shoot it from afar, right? And so that's gonna be an important piece of information that feeds into Barbie plus the rest of the team. And so using your double controllers inevitably should ask you to slow down your pace and try and draw things out for them.
Yeah, it sounds like a solid plan, but will it be the case in terms of executions? Logically, we are not in these players' heads. We can only imagine what they're thinking, and I feel like if for the side of '07, it's a bunch of haga haga huga shaka. But again,
Wait,
if it's the vibes that can carry you through to a long day of gaming, and this is only the first map, and with
yeah.
a lot of tech pauses like these, sometimes it can wear you out. but with a vibe like
Truth.
07's got at the moment, I feel like uh, they can weather the storm here and still play at least a fun version of their Valorant play.
Yeah. And wait, okay, hang on. I haven't really been caught up, Dixie, on the battle pass. Was G holding a new type of kind of handheld thingamabob? I
Yeah,
saw
it
G
is.
with a little scepter thing, like the orb, the
Yeah,
glowy
yeah.
orb. That's new. I've never
It's
seen
a
that.
new flex currently that is available in the new bundle.
Ah.
It is not a plug, but it is
Look at you working for Riot Games.
it is a new flex that is available in the bundle currently in the store. It's called the Bolt bundle, and those are one of the flexes. A new thing to spin apart from the snow globe. It's not squeezable as the Tactibear, but it will make do. But here we are. Round is now commencing. It is
Oh,
now
look at
oh
that.
07 for oh 07 going in for attack, and Coven going in for their defense. 1 minute going past the clock here.
I, I,
Skepnoblade
I,
getting
and I love what they did there, right? They basically planted the smoke, they jumped, peaked that shear, and now it forces at least a single, maybe two players, forces the drone out. A lot of utility being forced. We still have a bit of time, just a little bit of time, but they're playing it well. Unfortunately, it was spotted out by that spider, so they have to make quick work now.
It's now 36 seconds remaining. If you are oh 07, this is the go button that you need. Salvos are now going to be going through trying to hold them back. Haunt is now destroyed, but still good work in Coven Esports trying to stall as much as they can. It is turning out to be effective because 20 seconds remaining in the clock.
Oh!
17, and just like that, Carino and Sonata gets a kill of their own. It is now 2v3, 1v3, but close, but not Cigar. It is, you managed to kick down the spike at least if you're Skepnoblade, but again, very precise on where you hold your angles and very, very good defense there by Coven Esports. 310.
Yeah, double digits now from the side of Coven. Oasis 7. Big question, right? Do you buy? Do you force? Or basically, do you wait until it becomes like 11-3 to really buy up and challenge the bonus? I don't hate what Oasis 7 were trying to do. You know, we talked about baiting, the sheer wall, planting smokes around, drawing out utility. I just wish they stepped on the pedal just a little faster, right? You gotta really pedal to the metal. Unfortunately, it was just a bit too late. Waited a bit too long, and Coven opted to come out just as this plant was being spiked, not letting them settle a bit. So Oasis 7 opting to hard save with, I think, a single... No, no rifles or any sorts, just pistols all around. And maybe barrel their way into B.
Looks like a good bait for the sheer wall there, but will it cost them as they costed them last round before? We've seen it. 1 minute remaining on the clock. This is one of the cases where it is good enough to stall and bait out utility, but is it? But have you practiced it enough? Have you had a player watch the timer to have a good spot to see if the team is in the right spots at the right time? It is now 43 seconds, 42. And here we go. But Barbie takes down Mommy Panda as well. PV for the trade, and Fungi takes down Cookie Hoarder. It is now a 3v4. 30 seconds remaining, and the spike has been planted. If you are PV, you are in huge trouble here because a lot of util spam going in through. Carino takes in, and goes in. And just like that, it's now remaining. It's now down to G with a classic. Shout out PRX, but will it not? It is not going to be enough to represent one of VCT's premier teams. Shout out to them, but not good enough. Coven Esports 311.
You do what you can, given that was a save round, but now you need to do the whole 9 yards, right? Oasis 7 gonna be able to buy up. Yep, rifles across the board, full shields across the board, leaving Coven a little squishy at some corners with a couple of half shields and a regen. on board. Sonali left with a sheriff in hand. So this has to be, not will, has to be Oasis Seven's time to come in. They left both controllers on the lurk here. I like what they're doing, but I also even more like what Coven are doing, right? They're on their bonus. They can't lose this. And so they want to come
Ooh.
in strong. Both have been spotted out, I believe. They'd be punished for it.
Ooh, Carino almost getting a whiff there of Skepno Blade. At least they now know where they are. Not a clear sight yet on where everyone is going to be posted up, but we can clearly see here that O7 starting to get a good read on where everyone can be posted up. But yeah, well, Coven Esports not budging one way or another. If we look closely, Lily has a good cover, and so
Oh,
does Carino, and he takes two with them. It is now just like that, a 3v5 for the side of Coven. Barbie had a good shot there, but not enough. Mommy Panda takes her
oh,
down. Lily's takes down
there.
PV as well.
30
But
seconds left.
again, even with the Sentinel down, the rest of the squad of Coven Esports, time in their favor. G gonna have to initiate this plant here with Mommy Panda guarding them with their lives. 2v4. This is the duo of Poofy Pandas that excelled in their previous group stages run.
Player standing.
Oh, but Karina takes down Mommy Panda instead. G, none the wiser either, and gets taken down by Lilies. And just like that, Multi, we are seeing a match point despite a very strong start by O7.
oh yeah. Oh, they start off terrifically strong. I think maybe catching Coven off guard, right? And unfortunately, as the rounds go by, they may start to get telegraphed just a little bit more. Their actions may be just a bit too obvious from that perspective. Coven, they're hitting their shots. They're hitting their shots. They're not overstaying their welcome either. Cairo getting a nice 1-2, and then I'm out of there, right? With the nice gate crash. So really sustaining the number of members on the field, adding pressure onto every corner. This is exactly what they really want to start off with. And Carino will go down first.
Oh, Mommy Panda gets to find out where Barbie was, but shots weren't hitting that round in a very pivotal one indeed. It is now a 3v4 for this match point round. Sonali has to back out of dodge, and the rest of O7 gets to find a place to plant. Number advantage is not in their favor, however. Will it work this time or will it not? If you are O7, this is your make or break season! But Fungi says hello and takes the space that they need. Prowler is going to be going out with Sonali as well. Takes down PV and gets taken down as well. But the defuse is way too strong and leads Coven Esports with a scoreline of 13-3. Massive congratulations, but that is only map 1, Multi.
13-3 to boot, 10-point lead against their opponent, Oasis 7. It started off like you said, it started off great for them, but yeah, just one too many mistakes left on the table, one too many, missed timings on swings and calls. And so hopefully there'll be some time for them to kind of regroup and see what else they can do. Coach will be able to have spent a little bit of time with them during the break here. To be able to regroup themselves and figure out what else they can do. But man, Coven are firing on all cylinders right now. Looking at the scoreboard, Carino, 300 ACS, 18, 10 KD, beautiful numbers. And it's not just to say that they were pulling their team. Honestly, the rest of Coven also stepped up to the plate and could hit those shots when that really mattered.
Well, we are going in towards our second map pretty soon. But
Yeah.
we'll head in towards our break real quick. I'm not too sure if that will be the case, but we'll see you when we see it there. And but in saying that, you did say before where Coven Esports are firing on all cylinders right now. Um, Going into this next map, well, sadly, it's Lotus. Going
Mm,
towards this next map,
Lotus.
mm, if you're O7 here, how are you going to be approaching this in a new light? We've seen um, the brilliances of Skepnoblade in their Omen, and almost playing it as sharp as support, almost. A few bit of brilliances in terms of how everyone goes with their one, two, threes and sticking together. If you're O7, will it be enough for this Lotus map?
Okay, let me think. Let me think.
Okay,
Right, let me
we're
think.
cooking. We're cooking.
Um, we're no, yeah, we're in the lab right now, cooking hard. Let's see.
Yeah.
Coven is going to be on the attack side. Okay,
Yes.
which means Oasis 7 will start on the defense again. Okay, now from what I could tell, right, Oasis 7, their grouping is actually pretty good. Their
Mm.
grouping is actually pretty good. I like the calls that are being made in the comms. You can really tell that they're just trying to swing all together, trying to get the trades. They had a triple jump onto the lurking Barbie during that first map around
Mm.
mid. Great players, right? So this is going to be a bigger challenge for them, right?
Yeah.
Moving into Lotus because previously Pearl, two sides. Moving Lotus, three sides, a lot more space to cover, which means a lot more of okay, yes, we can kind of bum rush one corner,
Yeah.
but then you have to make the right call. Do you leave one person kind of hold up in the extremity and then send the rest packing to the other side of the map, to the other side of the map, to the other sites,
Mm-hmm.
or do you push? And that's where I feel like always 7 falls short just a little bit. We had a brilliant round of with that round 1 retake on Pearl, but apart from that, it was really hard for them to get back on site on a timely basis.
Yeah, you've said that multiple times, and we have witnessed it too. We- There's so many, there's so many ways that O7 could have had the round, and we are like the main witness of it. We've seen it happen time and time again. But it's not only Coven Esports that's their enemy at the moment. When they pull off something like that, it's time. It's one of their
It's
kryptonites
time.
at the moment. You got it. Like you've baited them out, but again, there was so much time during, I guess, during the rotates where they managed to trigger the rotate, but instead of pushing in the pedal, at times it feels like you're battling with respect in terms of where Coven Esports is. It's they're giving respect to where the remaining players are, while the rest of Coven Esports are busy rotating. And by the time you push the pedal and by the time you decided, it's now just like lights out. We've seen that time and time again where they had almost just a millisecond left before plants started like go down, and there were particular rounds where they'd even get to plant site despite having it almost there, because the rest of Coming Esports are just like saying hello, we're here, and
Mhm.
then bomb like spike is still not planted. And even in some cases with um their defense in particular, uh, again, like too much respect, but I think for O7, they're still trying to gel well as a team. They're still trying to pick it all up and still be together and still have that experience in a competitive stage like this. We've seen how they vibe there in that server. It's not nerves at all. You can tell that
Oh yeah.
um that the vibes are still up despite being um, down a lot of rounds at that point during the tech pauses. And again, like if you're O7, I still believe that you'll be able to um, get through any humps that you're experiencing currently. And even if it's not through like this series or not this particular map, there's always a lower bracket run where you can still grit your teeth. But I'm not saying that O7 is down for the count here yet, but still, like, if there is a team that can actually put up a fight in terms like Rocky Balboa moments of like being knocked down and still like pulling pulling out any punches. Like,
I didn't
I
hear
mean,
no bell.
yeah, I hear no bell. It's all about how you get knocked down, and it's all about how you get up. That's much more important as well. Maybe all what O7 needs is a training montage, perhaps. I'm pretty sure they have enough time with the R's getting ready on the server. But again, this is the team that has grit, and I'm still up for it. I'm still very hopeful that they'll be able to pull up a good fight with our friends there at Coven Esports.
Uh, Brilliantly said. And I do want to correct myself. I was just looking at the call sheet real quick, and it turns out actually in this particular map number 2 in the best of 3, we've got Coven on the defense, right? And so
All
it's a bit of
right.
a switcheroo.
All right.
OC7 are going to be attacking right off the rip here for Lotus. So let me think. Let me think. Right? I mean, Lotus. Me and you have casted Lotus like a billion rounds together. I think it was me and you. We did like what eight maps or 8 maps of Lotus in a row or some ridiculousness like that.
Yeah.
We've seen Lotus. We've seen Lotus in every sort of combination, permutation possible. As we now, I should be moving into the agent select. You know, I on one half, I'm like, okay, let's have a good, clean game. Let's pick the
Yes.
meta comps. On the other side, I'm like, my caster, like one cell brain is like, let's do all sentinels or like something ridiculous just to be able to have fun with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. I think that is the route, and I believe O7 is the team that would like to do that. Maybe if they're listening with us, then maybe like, yo, guys, it's fine, have fun with it. But it looks like they're gonna be going for a good meta comp, a good solid one as well. We've seen PV hovering the Yoru this time. They've been very sharp in terms of getting picks actually in that map. So in the previous map of Pearl. So I am actually kind of like looking forward to this PV Yoru pick right here. Skip no blade, good old tried and true Omen. And this time, Mommy Panda no more going for the Speedy Gonzalez Blaze, but it is now going to be a bazooka place this time with their showstopper Cookie Hoarder now going to be on a Vice, which is interesting. We've seen them not pick a Vice before in the previous map, but it looks like it's going to be their pick at the moment. Um, G opting towards going for a breach here, but the rest of Coven Esports looking very similar, almost similar, apart from the breach, in terms of the ages that they picked from Pearl.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think that I would. Okay, so here's what I'll do. I'll call the Coven composition what I call it the modern meta. Right, you got
Yes.
Vice, basically the new and improved Killjoy. You've got dual
Mm-hmm.
initiators supporting a mobility duelist. So
Mm-hmm.
and Teho is one of them. So you get your
Yeah.
flashes, you get displacements, you got height advantage, you got great paranoia. So very classic. I would consider Oasis 7's comp alternative meta, right? Like alt
Yes.
rock, but
Yes.
alternative, right?
Alt-Rock.
Alt rock, right?
Yeah.
They've opted actually to walk away from the Teho, but instead the displacement factor has to come from the two duelists, right? One
Yes.
MPV hopping onto that Yoru, trying to get some space, supported by Mommy Panda with that raise as well. Great ultimates to boot, leaving Cookie Hoarder on their Vice as well. So at least their backsides are covered as we count down the last 10 seconds here for map number 2. I'm excited to see how these teams are playing it out. And it looks like that middle site might be the first target.
It is gonna be going down to a G here. They're the initiators, and this particular team comp, it is basically breach, and it is basically your human size go button in terms of taking sites here. We'll see if that will be the case. A 5-man push going towards B site, a site that was currently hasn't been a first site to see to begin off with, but Lilies takes down Cookie Hoarder in towards the start, and just like that, whoa, Coven Esports goes for a good sweep of O7 just like that. We barely blink. It's a blink and you'll miss it moment, and Coven Esports just like that 1-0, winning the pistol.
near flawless as well as a great rebuttal from the side of Coven, just hanging on to the momentum that they garnered from that Pearl onto the Lotus here. Gonna be able to buy up as well. It was a bit of a tall order, to be honest. The thing about B side is that there's 4 entrances, but all of them are choked. So if you only storm one entrance, it's you're gonna be very quickly overwhelmed, unfortunately, right? That's but it is what it is. They had great body positions. They just couldn't get to some of those trades out in time. So gonna set sights on C now as Barbie is solo hold here.
Oh, wall is now tripped. It is going to be the clone that is going to bait out that sheer wall, but it is good enough time to get in towards that side. Barbie takes down Skip No Blade as well. Sonali just in time to take down Mommy Panda, and Lily's taking down Cookie Hoarder as well. It is now G, the remaining member. No more. Karina for the 2K, and again, a blink and we'll miss it moment. It's just like that. Coven Esports going for their second win in this round.
Yeah, here's a win con, Diggsy. One MPV does have the clone, right? So sussing out where Barbie would be setting up with those shears, or the sheer wall rather, not sheer. I guess you don't say shears. You just say sheer, right? A single sheer wall. You're sussing that out, and basically it's gonna be a free and easy trip just sending that clone in, right? And that might be one of the win cons that they put on the table for themselves to be able to at least get some map control, some spread, and leave Coven guessing a little bit. Now, meat and potatoes for the side of Oasis 7. Bit satchel in to take that high ground. Karin trying to take all that space, but isn't well supported by the rest of the team. Never mind, stepped up. No one's there though.
Oh, here we go. PV going in for that blind. And there goes Sonali as well, being blind as well. PV takes down Sonali and goes, see you later. But Lily's going down as well for the side of Coven. And just like that, 07 pumps up the gas. We're going towards Seaside at this time. You called it before and it just happened. Good wind condition there, using the clone to activate the sheer wall. Carino sharp with it, just in time for 07's re-hit. And Barbie takes one and takes two. Could it be another one? And it is a 3K by Carino. And just like that, a 3-0. A much more convincing, concise round by Coven Esports.
Stealing away that bonus is really gonna rock and shake Oasis 7 right now. These team members. I mean, we talked about using the clone to trip it out. It just buys them time. Yes, they gotta start that early, right? You know that Barbie, so far all 3 rounds has set up on C. And so you gotta fight for something. Coven likes to take the fight, as you saw in the previous round, onto A rubble. Oasis 7 have to do the counter and take that C mound. That's exactly what we're seeing here with a bit of the bait, trying to see if Barbie's gonna fall for anything.
Yeah, we will see if they fall for anything. So far, Carino now pushing up towards rubble. The rest of 07 just rocking baby shields and pistols. Bit of a good plan to stick together real quick, maybe get a few picks here and there, but if you're Coven Esports, you're gonna be ironclad and stick your foot down. You have to be confident when you're rocking rifles. Lily's gonna tank that flash, but a lot of spaces getting taken out by 07, but zero commitment yet. But here, check this out. Guess who's there? Deep! It is Carino with the Vandal. Takes one and takes G down as well. Mommy Panda for the trade. It is now a 4v3 for this round. Man advantage going to Coven Esports.
30 seconds left.
Armageddon is going to be used. Whoa, but PV takes down Sonali. Fungi takes 2 and is now down to Mommy Panda themselves with a Deagle and a Dream. Will it work in their favor? They get to pick up a van. Oh, they get to pick up a pistol, a rifle, but not enough. Lily gets that timing and
Objective remain
giving.
points.
Mommy Panda does some
One
good
game
back shots
breaks,
there.
the rest will follow.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, you see it here. Timeout call. You really have to pump the brakes, right? 4-0.
Yeah,
They're really running away with it. You're moving into your buy round, which means that this is your chance to strike. We haven't seen the last timeout work its efficacy just yet, so this really has to nail it in the coffin at the moment. Oasis
yeah,
7, I okay, let's break it down, right? They took
right.
B control, they took C control, then they basically hard swung A. Unfortunately, swing just before the flash comes out, right? Which allowed Carino now on the raise to be able to get a couple before it was traded out. Not a
Yes,
great start, unfortunately. And
yeah,
so again, all this info is coming out. I don't think they even tripped the Barbie shear either. So once again, I really think that's one of the win cons here. If you let one Sentinel, previously it was Killjoy, right? Killjoy with their utility could absolutely lock down BNC on a solo, right?
mm,
And so from this perspective, Vice lacks that just a wee bit. Only really being able to lock down a single site. If you get rid of the assurance, that's gonna always leave them nagging.
yeah. And it did, and at some point it almost did because if you're gonna be able to punish a lot of these rounds where Coven are just pushing rubble, and taking down like a lot of space, and us actually pinching O7 down, it's gonna work well in your favor. But O7 going towards the site where Barbie is, bit of a familiar site, but we've seen this before. Carino taking a lot of space this time in towards C site. Again, O7,
Mm,
are they aware that they're getting pinched by almost two players with Carino very well open in there? Clone activates sheer wall one more time. It's gonna trigger a rotate for the side of Coven Esports. Lilies and
oh,
Sonali on their way, very well aware. It is a 1-for-1 trade, 4v4 now. But gee, going in for the plan already. Mommy Panda taking one of their own, and Cookie Hoarder not too far behind. Sonali takes down Skipnoblade. It is now a 2v3 for a man advantage for the side
oh.
of 074. A chain. Here comes the doors, and Mommy Panda goes through and says hi. Oh man, Carino, close buckshot towards the judge. It is now Cookie Hoarder versus Carino, the duelist versus the Sentinel. Who will win? Defuse now coming through. It is going
Oh
past
my
a
god.
half. Will it pull through? And it does! Cookie Hoarder takes down Carino. And oh 07, Oasis 7
Now we build on this
in the
success.
promised land insight now has one round to their name. Despite that, Coven Esports still has the lead 4-1.
Retrieving wall.
All right, they break their spell, right? One on the board, which is important.
Yes, sir.
Cookie Hoarder doing immensely. The once again, all vices that we've seen so far, that I've seen so far for tonight's games, have excellent game sense. Gonna be able to get that down and insert them deep into the map. And the explosion of utility onto the A side was done brilliantly, right? So Oasis 7 want to be able to take that back, but now once again, Tejo's salvos being the absolute nuisance, they have to come out strong. They have to come out together. We'll see how they fare against these two.
Okay, Coven Esports already taking down PV. Well done by Sonali. Again, it's now Skipnoblade is way too deep in towards this, and Rubble and Carino in there for the punish. The rest of Oasis rotates, but to where are they going to go? It is going to be the trap filled spot of
My ultimate's
Barbie
ready.
in Seaside. The Razor Wires already activated. Sheer Wall's about to be activated too. Might want to bait it out soon, but the rotates for Coven Esports going in
Oh.
through. G says, screw the Razor Vines, I'm going into sight. And they did that indeed. Showstopper now gonna be pushed through. Where is it going to go? Doesn't find anybody, but at least Spike is now down for the side of Oasis. Fungi going in for that flash. It detects nobody. Rubble taken
One enemy
and
remaining.
Mound, and is now down to Mommy Panda. Takes down Sonali. Oh, and
Wow.
gets taken down by Carino instead. Three-man advantage going towards the favor of Coven Esports, and so does the round. We're now approaching a 5-1 scoreline in favor of Coven Esports.
The collapse on all the positions was symphonic, right? One
Uh-huh.
conductor, IGL, just coordinating the efforts for a three-person push along all corners. It was beautiful, right? And I think Oasis 7, I didn't like how they started the round off. Unfortunately, I know what they wanted to do, explode onto the side. The salvos made it hard, but
Yeah.
having that quicker pace and then supporting your deeply entrenched kind of omens, skip no blade in that corner, unfortunately, was caught with their pants down. They're gonna try again. We'll see if it works, but they do have a lot of utility that they can start off with.
Oh.
Going to be forced back by this and letting Karina embed themselves deep into A mound, but they have to come with a paranoia, a flash all at once to be able to take the space.
Oh, will it work in towards their side at least? Oh7 now going to be going through. Karina goes in for the punish and takes down PV. And just like that, Karina takes another one as well. Fungi not too far behind. It is just like that. Opening round. It's now G rocking a whole lot of HP missing. Just 44 remaining. Has Rolling Thunder available. But is it going to work in their favor? Just like that, Cookie Hoarder is now down 2. G, the lone member, rocking a frenzy. Will it work? It does work for Lilies, though. It is going to be a 1v4. G making the most of what they got. Starts trying to hunt down anyone that pushes out. Looks like they are going towards the perfect site because there is nobody there. Spike
30
is
seconds
now planted, which is extra credits on the board for you if you are O7 and if you are G.
Unfortunately,
We'll
there's
have
no
to
rifle around to be able to pick up, so it's going to be a single pistol to boot.
Oh, it takes the Carino as well. And almost had access to your Vandal. But again, a very sneaky way to take the Spike down. Almost impressive if you got a Frenzy Ace there, but not in that way. Not with 44 HP on your bag.
Not well.
And
Yeah.
it's gonna be hard if you're gonna be 07 once again, especially now that Coven Esports rocking a 6-1 scoreline against you.
You do what you can with the cards that you're dealt, and unfortunately, that last round was dealt cards full of thrifties. They're gonna be able to buy up this round. They have a lot of ultimates, honestly. They have the Rolling Thunder plus the Dimensional Drift. This is gonna be a good one to pop. Their eyes set on C. Honestly, one of the weaker sides for the side of Coven. Not to understate Barbie, but Barbie being the solo sentinel on the C side does respect the barrage of people headed their way and does back off. So it is the right set to take. It's just a matter of, okay, after taking and planting, how does O7 just hold that site and prevent these further massacres?
Well, it is going to be a solid site to pull through. Barbie gonna be stunned for days with that Rolling Thunder. And gonna be have to post it up in the waterfall, and here comes the plant.
Ooh.
Pain Shell's gonna be having to tag Barbie towards waterfall. The rest of Coven Esports coming in through. Cookie Hoarder going down to Carino. And PV sticking it towards the side. And here comes Armageddon. Carino going out towards that door, but dying to G anyway. And it is now Barbie taking down the rest of the squad. But it's PV and everybody else going in. It's a 2v2. G versus the world. Oh, but Spike has been defused. Instead, very close. Spike was planted, but not guarded enough for the anti-defuse spots there. Solid effort by O7, but still some holes in their strats and in their execution there. And just like that, Coven Esports now rocking a 7-1 scoreline.
It's a tough pill to swallow, right? You went in, you invested 2 alts, and you could get the plant down. So there's bonus money in your bank account, but Couldn't do much more to hold it, unfortunately. Now, falling back onto that save round, one-way smoke very aggressively set up to basically position Carino in a really crazy place. You see a bit of a mix-up, actually. Barbie hopping onto that B side. They're going to insert Carino all the way in this corner, and it has to be hard cleared.
Ooh, it is one as again. Barbie is set up in a really good spots here. They're no longer in charge of the lurks, but lurk they can indeed anyway. Takes down PV and Cookie Hoarder for the trade. Rolling
Whoa.
Thunder of the side of Coven. Gonna be worked on here. We'll see. Fungi getting some good stuns there in general. And Carino takes down G. The flex player of 07 is now down. It is now down to a 4v1 this time. And is now down to Skepno Blade, who will be going down to Fungi as well. Again, like, it feels like they're getting read here, like a book. Like if for
like an
07.
open book, like a dictionary that you just pull off the library, just flip into every single definition of strats that 07 can try to pull out. They've tried many different varieties. I gotta give them credit when credit is due. They're really changing things up round after round, trying to see what sticks. And whenever that one round that it did, they tried to run it again. But Coven are just able to adapt quickly, get into the minds of them. And once again, we see a clash of the folks here. Carino's getting away with murder.
Carino takes down one but dies without paying the price. But the rest of Coven Esports ready for the punish. Lily's taking two. Sonali taking down PV as well. And it's just like that, it is now down to Cookie Hoarder in their vice. Spike's gonna be left behind. And it is now down for Coven Esports to hunt down where this lurking Cookie Hoarder is. But it is gonna be tricky. Takes down Barbie, which is a good spot to be in if you are Cookie Hoarder. 56 seconds remaining on the clock. Trying to bait Util as much as you can, trying to be sneaky on where they could be. Cookie Hoarder might be able to find Fungi here if they are not careful. Just a wall remaining, and Lilies takes their 3k towards the end by finding Cookie Hoarder. And just like that, it is now 9-1 for the side of Coven Esports. Is there any hope or is there any luck going in the way for 07 for this map?
I gotta hand it to Carino as well. Just drawing attention to the scoreboard, 19-5, absolutely killing it. Right, I felt like Carino, right at the tail end, the second half of that first map on Pearl, they started to come alive. But this map feels like their playhouse. They feel like they're absolutely the tech movements and the sharp headshots from the Vandal, absolutely killing it right now. Now, at least Carino on the other side of the map, so Oasis 7 not going to have to deal with that just immediately. We'll see if this execute onto the seaside pans out. They're going to bait it once again with the shadow step, not the shadow step, the clone.
Oh yeah, clone. Well, Skepno Blade opting to just teleport in, but getting a punish there on Barbie as well. It's a good start. It's a 4v4 once again. We've seen this time and time again, but it is always down to a gunfight. Skepno Blade getting traded by Carino as well. Now is a 3v3. Will it go towards all of it? 07's favor. Turns out it probably won't be. Carino down to another kill as well. PV takes down Carino, but still managed to get traded by Sonali! And Cookie Hoarder takes down two instead with another round. Finally going to the side of 07.
That was it. That was the recipe for success. Cookie Hoarder, not sure if you saw during the first part of that past round, was lurking at B. Tried to draw attention tried to get killed, could not, but more importantly, ran away with their life. But enough time for one MPV to do a nice little lurk around, the defender spawn, but more importantly, stayed alive, right? The moment that lurk goes down, you know that Coven's gonna be swarming across all the sites. And so that was a huge, huge start for Oasis 7. They're gonna start off with a great dimensional drift, but Karina's quicker onto G.
Oh, quicker on the trigger instead. It is now. Oh, Karina down to a showstopper, but still gets trade by Mommy Panda here. But it's still a man advantage going towards the side of Coven Esports. 1 minute, 13 seconds remaining on the clock. Again, you love to see that Cookie Hoarder learning the ways of the Sentinel, buying time, staying alive because your HP is a resource after all. But not much reflected towards this round for the rest of the team. The showstopper gets on the stun. Will it be able to be used? It is a desperate shot for Mommy Panda. But a please the plant is now down for the side of O7. It is now a retake situation for the side of Coven Esports. Barbie getting a good spot on where everyone could be, but Cookie Hoarder's just way better. And towards the duels, there, Lilies. It's gonna be tricky. Oh,
Wow.
oh. Well, you do what you can with the cards that you dealt, and if it is the cards that dealt that gives you a 10-7 scoreline for the side of O7, then I believe that is what you have to be dealing with as we go in to the next half of this map. 3 rounds remaining for Coven Esports, and they take away the upper bracket section and sending O7 to the lower brackets. But again, we'll have to see if Mommy Panda and the squad of O7 puts up a fight here.
Yeah, it's gonna be a real uphill battle, right? 3 rounds separate Coven, and Oasis need to play. What I can't math right now. 11 just to be able to bring themselves to a 12 score, and then one more to boot into match point there. So it's gonna be kind of a default approach. You see both the vices playing around that C, but in this case, Cookie Hoarder being quickly sussed out, but I don't think suppressed by that spider. A lot of map control once again given to Coven onto the C site. Has to deal with the shear though. Barbie on the alert. See how that deals with.
Oh, Barbie, for a change,
Wow.
getting a couple for themselves. What a round to start off with from the Sentinel. A stark contrast towards their Pearl gameplay. At least Wall is going to be, Sheer Wall is going to be triggered there, but what a round for Barbie. Is it going to be going in their favor? APV will be the one to take him down instead. But Coven Esports rocking a 4-man advantage against O7's 3, and Spike has now been planted and in it for the taking. Will it work in their favor instead? Carino takes down the paint shells, and Fungi going in for the follow-up, taking down PV, but Mommy Panda and Cookie Hoarder taking down the 2. It is now a 2v2. Spike is still down. Lilies and Sonali have a good spot to deal with. Going in for the swing, Cookie Hoarder, not enough. The double swing gets predicted and takes a shot. And Coven Esports wins the pistol, taking them to 11-2.
All right. So Oasis 7, you're gonna buy up, right? Okay, no, you're gonna call for a timeout first. Sonali hitting. That's Coven. Coven's calling for a timeout. Ain't
Yep.
ain't no way, Diggsy. Now you're just playing with their food. No matter, it still gives Oasis 7 some time to regroup for themselves, to talk it out and figure out what they need to do. Do you buy this round? Do you force? Or do you kind of back out and play the bonus against match point within regulation and try and pray that every round goes perfect? I think the former is here on the table. You really want to be able to make every round count, and so you're gonna unfortunately have to buy up. I mean, looking at what Coven have is they're going to be bringing Guardians and Bulldogs to the playpen here, and O7 need to be able to step up with in terms of not only arsenal but tactics, which is hopefully some time for them to think about now.
I mean, looking at the scoreline itself, if you look at the side of Coven Esports, Carino looking like the Radiant lobby, just dropped into an unrated game and just starting just wreaking havoc. Sonali in there as well, a lot of assists going towards their side.
Mm.
If you're the side of Coven Esports, the combo in itself, we haven't even seen like a proper utility combo yet for the side of Coven Esports with the Teo and Breach. But even without that in particular, it's just particular positioning and proper gunfights going well in the favor of Coven Esports. It's working well so far, but it is a skirmish and a half. Barbie taking a 3k for themselves.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, and Karina taking down PV now, and it's now down to Cookie Hoarder. One against many in a classic to boot. 100 HP, and Barbie getting that 4k. Taking down Cookie Hoarder, and another point going towards the side of Coven Esports, bringing this whole game into a match point. You're one round away to getting into the upper bracket run if you are Coven Esports.
I mean, deservingly so, right? Top of the group in the group stages last week in the Exto Athena series. Just showing dominance in a 13-3 fashion in Pearl, now in a 12-2 score. They're looking like they're on fire, and they're looking like an unstoppable force. Led with the spear tip of Carino just blasting onto the A side. We'll see what kind of mess they can do here.
To see if will be what type of damage will Coven will be doing, and it looks like the damage is in the form of Karina taking down PV in the opening round. Oh, Steel Garden being popped up by Barbie. We'll see how many gets tagged. It looks like it's not enough yet because Cookie Hoarder and Skepnoblade going in through. Skepnoblade take down Lilies as well. Oh, Barbie take down Skepnoblades as well. It is now a 3v3. Spike is now down, taking away. G takes down Sonali. And it is now down to Carino and Fungi. Will the Duelist and Initiator combo work well in their favor here? Or will the three-man push succeed? It is now down to Fungi. Fungi setting it up. Stuns 3 and gets 1, but almost. With Carino taking down Fungi! Oh, and Carino taking everyone down almost. A defuse there for 07, but not enough. 4k for Carino, giving a scoreline of 13-2 in favor of Coven Esports. Dominant fashion across these two maps. Man, what a game of Valorant we have witnessed today.
I believe this will be the last match of today. So we do have our final kind of team proceeding into the upper bracket kind of playoffs here in this double elimination playoff. Coven, top of the scoreboard for the groups, shows why they are a force to be reckoned with. And I tell you, Carino just absolutely flipped the switch halfway through, right? 28 kills, almost doubling the second player in terms of kills on this scoreboard. 458 ACS and 6 first bloods. Just absolutely hard carrying the team. And Oasis 7 had a bunch of great ideas. I have to give credit where credit is due. I mean, they are in the playoffs here. They've battled and won a bunch of different opponents leading up to this point. It's just that I felt like Coven were shot calling every single strat out of their hands, right? Counter strat after counter strat, and it was just insanely hard for Oasis 7 to find a footing.
Again, like you mentioned before, Carino putting Coven Esports and the rest of the squad on their backs, and the ACS does reflect that. And the amount of first bloods that they were able to execute in this particular round, 6 first bloods is nothing to scoff at as well. And Barbie stepping up in this map in particular, and which is a huge stark contrast to back when they were lurking around in Pearl. Lotus, a much more different game. You get to be safe in your spot because you started at defense, and all your focus is just aiming and play with your util and wait for your team to just pull through. And pull through they did. Coven were very cohesive. They were very structured in how they would want to play each and every round, leaving O7 to actually just lick their wounds every time they lose a person and start a game like a round 4v5, or even in the worst cases 2v5.
Yeah. It's Coven played their hearts out, right?
Yeah.
And you're right that Carino kind of had them on the back, so it was a sled pull for them. And Oasis 7 will be relegated to the lower brackets right now. They're going to be facing against other players that have been also kind of lost their first match here in the playoffs. It's not to say they're out. They still have one more chance to prove themselves, get their heads back on, kind of shake it off and try to
Mm.
try and cook up new strats back in the lab, figure out what might work against new opponents. And Coven, they're going to be up against new players. It's only them here, so I wouldn't be surprised if they have to go back to the drawing board. You can't let these hero plays carry the whole team. If you get you know ultimately, I believe that this is still a team-based game, and
Mhm.
as the matches get harder, if you can't solely rely on top fraggers just to be able to carry you through.
Yeah, again, like we're looking at we'll look at this at O7's perspective, right? You're coming into a tournament, a very new team. Is some might say even like a last minute addition in towards this and in towards this tournament, and you actually pull off and almost like beat Coven Esports slightly in towards their game, especially in the game of in the map of Pearl. Not so much Lotus, but you see some promises there. You've seen like you've already seen a little bit of brilliance on how O7
Mm-hmm.
plays together, and whether if it's the vibes, whether if it's the strats, whether if it's Jazor's strats working well for them, whether it's the IGL's calls. You see some promise there, and it's already taking, despite the score looking as is, it's 13-12.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot argue when you're watching the VOD that there are some rounds where O7 managed to push Coven Esports and their backs against the wall, and
Oh,
that's
100%.
nothing to like push back. But it looks like we have a bit of a good interview going in at the moment and coming in towards our server today. um and I believe they are can they hear us at the moment, producers? Just checking. We do have an interview coming in our way as well. And it will be one of the players from Coven Esports as well. But let's talk a bit more while everything is just being prepared so far. So, lower bracket run for O7. It's going to be tricky. How would you going to be approaching it?
Oh, okay, I'm gonna be honest. Oh, wait. I think our interview is just coming in, laughing and giggling. I hear some noises in the background. I hear a shriek. Hello, hello. Can
Hello?
you hear us? Hi. Okay. Maybe we're our casters, multitudes. As join with me is Diggsy. Maybe
Hello?
you could just maybe introduce yourself and the role that you're playing. We're not live yet. Okay, we're not live yet. I see. Okay, so it's just us. Okay, so I'm hearing from production right now that it's just still me and Diggsy talking. But
Alrighty
well,
then.
to answer Diggsy's question, I think what I'm hearing is as we're talking about um, the kind of lower bracket run. Okay, you know what, Diggsy, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't meant to cast today, so I wasn't really
It's
prepared. I'm
fine.
gonna just quickly look at the brackets right now that's happening. Okay, we've got a couple of like double elimination lower brackets right now. We've got a whole bunch of players here. Brat divisions going down. Um, plus not silly goobers anymore, but in this case, Oasis 7. Okay, I think honestly for Oasis 7, it is. I cannot fault them because it is a bit of a scramble kind of roster, is it not?
Hmm.
Dixie, correct
It
me if
is.
I'm
It
wrong.
is.
It is,
It
right?
is.
Yeah, so
It
so
is.
so they're coming in a little on the backside because these are players that haven't necessarily played with each other, not as much, game time and map time as they had
Mhm.
with like some of the other teams that they did last week and the experiences they had. So it's gonna be them trying to get more time together. Now the problem is tomorrow we actually have a full pack day, right?
Yeah,
And
we
so
are indeed. Yeah.
we do, right? It's starting. I think there's like 9 hours worth of casting and production and games that we're going to be watching and producing, and
Mhm.
so I don't know if Oasis 7 are going to have time to scrim anymore. They probably want, honestly, to take a break. Now this is weird, right? Take a break,
Yes.
what? But I think that's really important. You gotta
Yeah.
maybe walk away from this L and say, this is today's stuff. We're gonna
Yeah.
have a clean slate for tomorrow. I'm gonna walk in fresh. We'll come in with new stuff and new synergies just to be able to work as a team. I think that's the strat.
All right. We are just a check on who will we have on the interview slot today, and I believe we are going to have our interview slot ready today. Hi, my name is Diggsy, and you are joined together with I and Multiviews, and please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Anna, and I'm Kevin's main duelist.
All right, and I believe you were Carino,
Karina?
I
Yeah,
believe.
I'm Carino.
Yes.
Holy, okay.
Wow. First of all, let me get your reaction real quick. Like, hear me out. Hear me out. Like, let's everyone, just take a silence. Just take a silence real quick. Wait for it. Just wait for it. Just wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. 458 ACS. How does that sound to you? Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
Holy!
Yeah.
Oh,
That
thank you
was
guys.
Lotus. That was Lotus, and still a stellar performance as well in Pearl, mind you. And how's everything? Like
Oh my
thought
gosh.
process, everything. Go.
It's, I mean, it's good, like we won, and our team, honestly, we were hella shaky, like the start of Lotus after all those like pauses and everything. So we're pretty
Mm.
rocky, but I'm really happy that we pulled through and came together and, calmed down and we got the win.
Yes, that's great. It's great to hear, and good to hear that you weren't too phased by the tech pauses. Once again,
Yeah.
we do apologize to your team, both teams, as well as the viewers for that. But I did want to ask, moving into these playoffs, having a pretty good performance last week in group stages. Tell me about the vibe or the mood of the communications today. Were people nervous? Was it still like the whole no, we're gonna play as it is? It's just
Yeah.
another game, or is it kind of different for y'all?
I think most of our team was pretty nervous, but a lot of us, it's like their first official, and also everyone is kind of
Yeah,
nervous when they're being streamed and stuff like that. So
yeah.
nerves are definitely a big part. Of course, like me and Sonali and like other people, we tried our best to calm the team down. But overall, I think we did a really good job with like comms and everything. Some rounds, it went out the window, but it's okay. Pulled together to the end.
Or don't worry about it. I am a caster myself, and I still get nervous every time I have to get that in front of that camera myself. But in regards to going forward and towards this tournament so far, you've already obviously experienced group stages, and now that you're in the bracket stages, now going through an upper bracket run. Talk to me in terms of the players that you're looking forward to facing, actually.
Mm.
Players I'm looking forward to.
Yeah,
Uh,
we've had a lot of teams come in so far, and I'm pretty sure you've had the chance to actually like get them or to
I'm
watch
looking
them.
forward to versing Zinrin because
Hmm.
I think we've avoided them even in groups. We have not played against them, so
Yeah,
probably just them because we haven't played against them before.
I believe that's how the cookie crumbles. At least when certain aspects of the tournament had to happen, and and for some magical reason you did miss out on like facing Zenmin Sirens, but multitudes, a lot of a lot of prospects here going in towards Carino and the rest of the squad here. What else do you have in mind to ask?
Oh, 100%. And I also wanted to ask in terms of like, shot calling. I was actually amazed. And it wasn't so evident in Pearl map 1, but it was so evident in map 2. I felt like honestly, Coven had your opponents on lock. Like open strat book on your knees, just reading line for line. Okay, round 4, they're going to bum rush A. So Sonali IGL, I believe.
Yeah.
Was it a lot of like IGL shot calling? Was it a lot of like teams just kind of gathering around? Oh, I think I'm gonna do this. I think I'm gonna do that. How were the dynamics from that point of view?
It's mainly my beautiful IGL Sonali, but also our teammates. We will kind of just like bounce like ideas of each other. Like if we call one thing, someone can add on and like blah blah blah. And it's just like that. So it's mainly Sonali, but we also like share ideas and stuff like that.
Well, it is going to be a very interesting run for you guys. You guys made a good solid run during the group stages, going on top of the leaderboards as well, taking that top spot. Second, or I believe like second close top spot. But now that now that you're gonna be resting for the rest of the day, I gotta ask, like now that the game is done and like everyone's already chilled down, what's the plan for the rest of the night?
Probably eat dinner because I haven't ate yet.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Well, I believe that will be it for us today. Thank you so much, Carino. It was
Thank
such
you
a vibe.
guys.
You're all smiles in this interview, and hopefully, you are all smiles as well as you go
Hopefully.
forward to the rest of the tournament as well. You have a good one.
Thank you guys.
And that is it, multitudes. Anything on your end so far?
No, I'm so glad I could be part. I could have the time to hop on and help this production out. I know there was some issues that happened, but huge shout out to a lot of people who kind of scrambled in the background to get this production going. Huge shout out to Tosca as well as Observer Morrison's for coming in super last minute to help out with the production and get this stream on air basically. And obviously for you to let me come in and drive. We've casted before, and
Oh,
the
yes.
vibes are even better today. So I gotta hand it to you, mate.
Yeah, you can't help but sing the song "Reunited," but it's good. But that will be the rest of the games today. We've had two bangers of a series, and I believe that will be the end of the stream. Don't go anywhere though. I believe we'll be rating someone Valorant related creator pretty soon, but that will be it for the rest of the stream. On behalf of everyone behind the scenes,